Local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your question. Get seen on TV or YouTube and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Sponsor your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1 and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Welcome to Toast of the Town with Chrissy and Mel. We are here on a wonderful Wednesday. It is the 20th of April, because I woke up thinking it was San Jacinto Day.
It's 420.
No, it's tomorrow. I know,
420.
420.
I know. Did everybody leave out their
I'm
milk
worried
and
about
cookies for Snoop Dogg last night?
Yeah, I know. I'm worried about San Jacinto Day tomorrow. Gotta celebrate it.
Always the fuddy-duddy.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm a Texas girl at heart. Anyway, so happy San Jacinto Day early. Happy
early
420
Day.
Happy 420 to you.
I know. And it's, I woke up this morning. I really thought it was going to be another day like yesterday with nice, crisp air and a beautiful breeze and this wonderful temperature. And it's not.
It's not. No.
No.
And we heard some trucks go by, and Jim was just sure it was thunder. I said, I don't think we're supposed to have any rain.
But
nope, it was trucks.
yeah, but there is, but it has been kind of misty gross outside.
It has.
And but it's like one of those things. I decided to just start embracing the natural waves instead of rolling my hair every day, and the humidity helps.
Yes, it does.
Why fight an unnecessary battle
Right.
that I've been fighting for 25 years? Yeah. I'm done. It's time to eliminate the battles.
And for all you
just
gentlemen listening, we
forward.
want you to go natural with your hair too. Don't curl your hair.
Yeah, don't do that. But yes, it is a great Wednesday in the greatest city and the greatest community in all of Texas and
all of Texas.
And we've got so many great things going on, and I don't want to delay too much with just chitter chatter.
I know.
A great guest here.
I know.
And she's so fun.
Yes.
And she's joined us before. So do want to remind everybody, if you're looking for something to do Sunday, we're going to talk about a really great event that you get to do at your leisure on Saturday or Sunday. So you don't have to necessarily choose. You just have to manage your time wisely.
Right. Absolutely.
We've got Cornhole for a Cause, which is going to be the Guns versus Ladders event going on at Sawyer Park in the Woodlands. I believe it starts at noon on Sunday. That benefits first responders, the Woodlands Firefighter Foundation, as well as the 100 Club for our firefighters. Mm-hmm. It's a cornhole tournament, but I think if you buy a general admission ticket, you get some barbecue and a beverage that's cold and possibly frothy.
Possibly.
So it's a great time to come out. It'll be a good time. The weather's supposed to be nice, even though, it's Texas and it's April, so but I diverse. Anyway, that's going on. I digress. Hold on. But that's going on Sunday. Also, the Lake Conroe Area Republican Women is having their fundraiser, Flight 2022. I think they're expecting everybody to dress in their, preferred destination attire.
Oh, okay. Then that makes more
Pretty sure
sense.
nobody wants to see me showing up in a bathing suit, but you never know. So that's going on Sunday. You can go to lcarw.org to purchase tickets if you want to go to that. I know they're also looking for some more auction items, so you can donate, and it'll be a lot of fun.
So don your cruise wear and head on out Sunday evening.
Yeah, speaking of cruise wear,
Yes.
next trip that we make over to Beaumont, I've got to get to go shop on some leisure wear, some cruise wear.
Oh, I know
Some
a
resort wear, I think is the technical term.
Great little shop.
Yes,
Just-
for the upcoming fashion show that I got voluntold for. So,
I'm guilty.
yeah. So,
Guilty as charged.
I know. So I wish the events would have been switched in dates, then I could have gotten the resort wear and then worn it to this, but
I know.
such
I
as
know.
it is. Anyway, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest?
All right. Well, I'm thrilled to welcome back Katie Krouse to Krouse, correct?
Yes.
Okay. She is with Bears, Etc. And I'm going to let her tell you what her expertise is because she's so good at it. Anyway, and we are just so excited to have you back. You've got an event coming up. We want to talk all about that. So tell me a little bit about, or tell all of our listeners a little bit about yourself and what Bears, Etc. does.
Great. So I'm happy to be back. I always enjoy coming and hanging out with you ladies. So I'm Katie Krouse. I'm the executive director of Bears, Etc. We are the experts in Southeast Texas for exotic animal rescue. And what that means is if it's not a native species, then we help find placement for it in appropriate housing at a true sanctuary. So a true sanctuary doesn't buy, sell, breed, trade, or use animals for entertainment. And make sure it lives out the rest of its life like a wild animal should, right? So we rescue anything from parakeets to tigers and bears. Our focus is bears. Yes. Because there is no true bear sanctuary in the U.S. So that's why they're our focus. And so everybody remembers not too long ago, last Mother's Day, the tiger loose in Houston. And so we were the first point of contact to help place it with a peer sanctuary of ours. So
That's amazing.
That was great.
So were you out there with a lasso and
No. So we're deployed when asked. And fortunately for that animal, things went smooth. The owner surrendered it and it was able to go. So first, if animal control asked us to deploy, then we can go out and help.
Gotcha.
But if not, then we can't
just
just
have to
go
wait.
out and self-deploy and
Right.
then cause
So
chaos.
I shouldn't call you if the lab gets out, the dog, right? I shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. You're not going to deploy for that because my dog doesn't mind very often.
Well, and one of the things, and if you don't follow Katie on Facebook or Bears, Etc., you really should, because it really has, just knowing you, and you've been on this mission to bring awareness and to educate people.
Correct.
Not only about how many people literally have tigers as pets, which is legal in Texas.
Correct.
With a permit.
$50 permit in the
$50
state
permit.
of Texas. There are over 5,000 tigers in private owner hands across the
and
United
as cool
States.
as a guard tiger sounds, I believe that would not only be a tad bit dangerous and irresponsible, but also that poor tiger.
Right.
But also, again, okay, so tigers are kind of one thing. Tiger King is now kind of in our psyche, as disturbing as that is. But how many bears, actual bears, are kept in private homes or backyards, and it's amazing to me.
So the number I can tell you is the number in need. And back in 2017, a group of bear professionals came together in Washington, D.C., and at that time there were 1,000 bears in need of placement. So that's not even all of the bears that are out
Those are
there.
ones that you know that need
Correct.
placement.
Yeah, that they've either asked, to help or whatever. But the problem being, and why most facilities don't do bears, is they live for 30 years. Unlike tigers who only live 15 to
Right.
20,
Yeah.
big cats in general, 15 to 20. A black bear, which is really kind of the smallest species in the pet trade. So
Right.
you've got your black bears who stand 5 to 6 feet tall. They're 300 to 500 pounds. Your brown bear, anywhere from 6 to 8 feet tall, over 1,000 pounds, right? So your black bear eats about 40 pounds of produce alone a day.
That's
so
a lot.
nobody wants to deal with that.
Right. That's a lot.
Also, big cats sleep 20 out of 24 hours a day, right? They reserve their energy in order to
Capture prey.
Right.
Right.
Whereas bears are foragers, so they're active
Right.
all day, and if it's hot, all night. They'll sleep all day.
Yeah.
Their muscles are 9 times denser than man's, which means they can tear up stuff very easily. Whereas cats aren't necessarily big, destructive animals, right? And so nobody wants to house them because of the enrichment involved, because they are smart like elephants and primates. They are, active all of the time. So keeping them enriched and their brain stimulated so they're not destroying stuff is a huge part of it. Out of the probably dozen true sanctuaries, like big cat sanctuaries in the U.S., only about 5 of them actually do bears. And they don't do many bears. Like the most bears at one facility, I think they probably have about a dozen bears, but otherwise, like, nobody wants to do bears.
Because they're high maintenance.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
really. And,
Yeah.
and, you start thinking about the cost of feeding them and repairing any damage they do, plus being proactive and giving them activities and things that they can do.
Right.
It's just a lot.
Yeah.
And probably to staff that and have people that are willing and able,
Correct.
and suited for that kind of work has got to be extremely challenging.
Yes. Yeah. Because they are, big cats are too, but they are living, breathing, thinking things. And I was told once a long time ago, and it continues to be true to this day. Anytime you see the whites of a bear's eyes, they're thinking and they're processing and they're like, what can I do? Like the sneak attack, or what can I'm going to sit in the shift door because they're not going to be able to shift me over in order for me to get away from my bed. They're constantly processing on how they can do something.
Yeah, how they can learning something.
Yeah.
I had a toddler like that once. but
Yes,
yeah,
they
go
are.
ahead.
They are a lot like having toddlers and sometimes even teenagers.
Yeah.
Because they
That'd be
have
more
bad days and
appropriate.
good days,
Right.
just like
right.
you and me. So, but they are just amazing creatures and so amazing to work with. Like, they enrich my life because of me thinking through processes to be able to enrich their lives. What can I do to make their life better for today? So.
Well, and it's, I can see the attractiveness in having one. Number one, they're really cute and they're little.
And they're clingy.
And they're clingy. And
they stay with Mama Bear for several
Yeah.
years of their lives, and so they need you.
And you see these videos of them playing and tumbling around with each other,
Yes.
and they're so sweet. It's very, very endearing. But and I'm sure that I like to think that most people that venture down that path really have the best of intentions at heart. I remember a story that you shared about a man that had one that had it in a concrete enclosure, and basically that bear wore his feet out.
Yeah, they were raw from walking constantly, pacing,
Yeah.
because they weren't receiving the proper enrichment and diet and things of that nature.
And it's just
and so they were
heartbreaking.
cracking, and
Yeah.
and he didn't have a vet that could handle
Right.
taking care of a bear. So, that's the other thing you have to think about when you take in these exotics as pets. Is there a vet in the area that is able to take care of them?
because they're going to get sick or get injured or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Anybody that's had any kind of animal knows that something's
Right?
going to go
Something's
wrong.
gonna go
Yeah,
Like
how many
toddlers.
people I know have tripped over their dog and broke their leg, or
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
or stepped on their little dog, or
Yeah. And so you've been working. You cleared your mission, and we've talked about this before. And you're one of the most knowledgeable people I know in any realm. But how much thought that you've actually put into your end goal to have your own sanctuary, to have that place here. And I've watched you in the community and watched you evolve, not only your relationships and how connected you are to this community, but also how you've changed, not really your mission, but how you're going about to make it happen.
Right.
And I see all these great strides you're making to make it happen. That's got to be amazing to know that so many of these community members have said, are buying into this and this idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And the big thing, besides being able to rescue these animals and give them a piece of the wild, the PEAC that comes with, building the facility for these guys, is also being open to the public for tours and the economic impact that we're about to have on our community for the give back, right? I can't wait for that because so many people in this community have supported us thus far to bring this to fruition that I just can't wait to see the give back to the retail stores and the restaurants and just everybody that could, be a destination to come stay in Montgomery County and then shop in our shops and eat in our restaurants, to be that thank you for our community that supported us thus far.
Which brings to mind another hat you wear as the chairman for Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce. Did I get that right? Shannon's going to hit me if I get it wrong. And how has, because that really kind of brings it full circle.
So a while ago, I posted my dad's dad, my grandfather, was a city councilman up where I grew up. And I think it started there when I saw the community and for where he worked and the sales that he made, and saw the impact of the help that he gave to the community. And then coming full circle to joining our Chamber of Commerce and being able to help our businesses be better for our community and help our businesses succeed. Like so many of our businesses were able to tackle COVID with no problems because of resources we created through the chambers that helped them.
And
right?
relationships.
And relationships. Yeah. And so being able to chair the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce this year has been just the best thing, because I get to talk to these individuals, these business owners, and connect them and say, oh, well, this person's using this resource to get their stock in or whatever, because a lot of people are having a hard time still getting stuff in to fill their shelves. And, what does that, and a lot of our business owners also had to go online. A lot of our business owners are not, me included.
No brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar, we're not tech savvy, and so having to move them online, and how we help them go virtual and be able to help themselves so they can stay in business and not have to close their doors, because the small businesses in Texas are the backbones of our community.
Absolutely.
So being able to help them keep their doors open has been absolutely amazing. Awesome. And then now we have other things planned that are happening for this year.
I like the
So we're just very excited of how we can help those businesses now move forward.
Yeah.
And the resources that we're starting to provide for that.
Right. And with all the growth that's coming into this county, including the Montgomery area, all over the place, the influx of new residents coming in, and all of these businesses, and the transition that COVID made mandatory.
Right.
To have those relationships and those resources so vitally important.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're saying in Montgomery, so I live in Montgomery, so in our 2 zip codes alone, 5,000 new houses in the next several years.
It's amazing.
So and that's not only bringing in the people, but it's also bringing in other small businesses and stuff, and being able to be a resource for them. How do you get started in Montgomery County? What permits do you need? What, having all of that right there for them, so it's not so difficult. Any small business owner knows how difficult it is. What permit I need to get where, and stuff like that.
How do I do this?
So being able to help them and be that first line of contact for them is just so exciting.
Kind of navigate the waters a bit.
How do you navigate bringing your business here?
So that, kind of a separate, but going back. So we talked about COVID and the effects of COVID and how you evolved from that. So, when COVID started, that's when we all got Tiger King walloped in the head. and I know we've had this conversation before, and you've had the relationships with some of these cat sanctuaries, obviously, and you have relationships with some of these characters out there. Given the popularity of that show and COVID and everybody being bored and at home, how do you see the population of exotic animals increasing? Do you see that whole combined situation is going to create a bigger problem in years to come?
It's really going both ways. Yes, people that found out that they can get a tiger super easily for less than a new iPhone.
Just cracks me
you
up.
can have a tiger cub here tomorrow. We don't like to tell people that, but then we also, the jaw drops that, what? You can really do that?
Yeah.
Yes. A bear cub, $300 to $500. $50 permit.
That's cheaper than some of these dogs that are this
Right.
big.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
And
Most of
there
them.
Yeah.
are breeders across the United States of these animals, just like there are for dogs and cats.
There are bear breeders for pets?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yep. And there are websites available. They used to have what was like our like a trading newspaper. What did we have down here?
Like the
green
Thrifty
sheet
Nickel. Yeah, those things.
that you could put ads in. There used to be one of those that was produced in Indianapolis, Indiana, that was sent out monthly, and you bought an ad in there saying, I have X amount of bear cubs, or I have X amount of tiger cubs, or I have, prairie dogs, or I have, anything. But now, like, there's so many pet stores for them. And there's an exotic animal auction just north of here the second Friday of every month. What? So you can get just about anything, specifically in the state of Texas, that you would ever want to get your hands on.
But most of that is for like Axis and things that people have on.
Like
No, you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
So the last time there was lemurs, I can't remember what all went through there. So most of it is hoof stock for the
okay,
ranches.
right.
Okay.
But when you're dealing with the exotic animal world, like everything and anything can go through there.
Like reptiles.
Reptiles, I mean, you name
wow.
it. And those people are all connected. And it's actually a very small world when we talk about Tiger King. And I've said it before, I had threats back in 2011 from Joe Exotic. From speaking out against him. So it is a very small world. And I actually sit on the advocacy committee with the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance with Carol Baskin.
Yeah.
She is my friend.
Yeah.
Like, it is a very small world, and people like don't realize it. They joke about it and they come up not realizing. I was like, oh, I know them, and they're like, what? And I was like, yeah,
They're
like,
not just characters.
They're not just characters. This was real life. Joe Exotic was on his best behavior for that show.
And it amazes me. I mean, in some ways, I can see that it was very beneficial because it really kind of opened people's eyes.
Yeah.
To what's going on.
And it's helped us too, because they're like, what? Now they're kind of getting because there's no true accredited sanctuary in the Houston area, right? We have the Houston Zoo, but that's the only accredited facility that we have in our area to really use as what's a good place, right? And so they couldn't picture what Bears Etc. is going to be or what we're doing.
Yeah.
But by watching that, they kind of learned, oh, I watched that episode, and what is this compared to what you're doing? And they can finally get a visual on what our future holds.
Right. So, and one of the things that on that show, they talked about, because Baskin's, her organization's in Georgia, is that right?
In Florida.
In Florida. And you saw, and they had his in Oklahoma, but they didn't really focus on any in Texas. And I guess that's why, because there's really not any.
Well, there is a few sanctuaries up around the Dallas area, but in Southeast Texas, none. If it's an animal facility in Southeast Texas, I would question, what they were doing or going there, giving them your money to support what animal breeding or what they're doing.
Yeah.
Especially if they're doing photographs with baby animals, if they're, doing photographs with any animals whatsoever, if their primates are wearing diapers and, wearing sweaters or, wearing a leash or anything like that. Like, I would question whether my money is well spent at a facility like that.
So that leads us to what your vision of Bears Etc. is going to create.
Right.
Because it's hard to believe how far you've come in a relatively short period of time to making this dream come true. So you have this beautiful plan already laid out.
Yes. So Bears Etc. is building a first of its kind, state-of-the-art bear facility with 2 to 5 acre habitats of natural bear habitat. We want to change the mindset of people, what they see on the YouTube, what they see, at other facilities of these bears in cages on concrete, right? We want to see them in that piece of the wild. We want to see what they would see in Yellowstone. We want them to see
if they could just sneak in,
right,
undetected, what they would see.
What they would see.
wall.
We want to normalize seeing animals in nature and not on people's laps on talk shows or people messing with them, and stuff like that, because it's a monkey see, monkey do type of thing. I mean, we've seen over the years the people going into Yellowstone and stealing the bison babies that mom laid off to the side. Oh, this bison's been abandoned. No, like because they see people with baby animals on laps on TV and stuff,
and
so they just assume that the baby's been abandoned. Well, little do they know, mom comes back and checks on it. She leaves it there for safekeeping because she wants it away from the herd in order to keep it safe from predators, right? And we see people selfies with animals in zoos. The guy that took his baby in the elephant habitat at San Diego to get a selfie with it.
Yeah.
You know, the selfies are the huge thing of jumping barriers and getting selfies with animals.
Because obviously those barriers are not important. You know, people don't realize it's to keep the animals in, but it's also to keep the people out.
Yeah, you're going to see a huge shift in the zoo world as they continue to expand habitats, specifically AZA zoos, to give animals better, because we're learning and growing and evolving, right? So building bigger habitats, but also they're building to keep people out anymore.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you're not going to be able to get a good picture of an animal
because you're going to have to be so far away.
Yeah. And that's the world that we're running
because
into because of people
Sorry.
jumping barriers. I mean, just last week, another person mauled by a tiger at a zoo because he reached in and he was trying to get the tiger to come over, and the tiger grabbed his arm. And
unfortunately, it's the tiger that's going to pay for that, because the tiger will be the one that's put down.
Yeah, because just a couple... last month, the month before, the tiger would not release, and so it had to be euthanized by the sheriff's department.
That's just heartbreaking to me. I think there need to be fewer stupid people that need to be held accountable for their
you stuck
choices.
your hand in, you're going with the tiger.
Yeah.
If they have to take the tiger, if they have to take the tiger, they're taking you too.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But when the boundaries are in place, like, you should respect those, right? Follow the rules. But, people don't follow rules. People don't follow laws. That's why we need police officers and why they're so important.
Yes.
To keep us safe.
Absolutely.
So,
So your sanctuary is going to be in the Montgomery area, ideally.
Yes. In Montgomery County, they do have stronger laws than our state laws. And so we do have to have 20 acres in order to live within those boundaries that they have created for large, dangerous carnivores. So we are fundraising to get that 20 acres, or if it's donated, that would be absolutely amazing as well.
If somebody does not want to pay the property taxes with the new appraisals, they could donate them, and that would be fine.
The other thing that we're seeing is the ranchers who don't want their homes turned into subdivisions.
Yeah.
So if you don't want your ranch to be turned into a subdivision, we are your solution.
There you go.
Because we are going to keep it what it is, right?
A natural land. And so speaking of which, that leads us to a great little event you have coming up this weekend called the Bear Crawl 2022.
Correct.
Yes.
So a bear crawl, like a pub crawl, it is a winery, brewery, distillery tour across Montgomery County. So it's the best spirits you'll taste that Montgomery County has to offer, in my opinion. I'm a little biased since they are in my backyard.
Right.
But we have some great places.
We do, and a lot that people don't know about.
Yeah. So we're excited. I'll say this first. We're excited to have a new spot. So, I guess let me start with, because there are 8 bear species in the world, there are 8 locations on the crawl. So you'll be able to see a life-size cutout of that bear. So if you go to Bartlett's Distillery, our polar bear stands there.
Yep.
And it's a 10-foot polar bear. It's as big as a life-size polar bear would be. It's just really flat and really lightweight because I'm not hauling a polar bear around.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird.
But so we'll have locations. Each location has a bear. Foss Brewing is our new location
and we love
this year.
Foss.
They're absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And they're right down the street from the Firm Meadery, which is a favorite.
We love Mike and
meat.
Kathy Ray.
Yes.
Awesome, great people.
They have a new berry that I absolutely love.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
So good.
When I was in there the other day, because I have been a longtime fan of their hibiscus mead, and they're not making that anymore because not enough people were drinking it. And I'm just like,
oh no,
I was the only one drinking it apparently. But yeah, the new berry. Oh gosh, it's so good.
So many good ones. And if you've never tried mead, you really need to go do a tasting, because it is not and I've told this story. I've told them 1,000 times. The first time I tried mead, it was super duper duper sweet. I thought they were all super duper duper sweet, and they aren't. And they're
just
so great.
They run the gamut just like wines do.
Yes,
and
it's
only
wonderful.
Instead of a white wine being sweeter or whatever, and a red wine being drier, like it just runs the gamut.
I know, and it's great for your allergies because they use a lot of local honey. So
local honeys. Yep.
Just saying, drink for your allergies.
Yep,
Anyway,
yep.
okay.
And get one of their charcuterie board because
Yes.
they do have a gal that makes jam out of the leftovers from the fruit and stuff
Yes,
that they use.
a very
And-
sweet friend of ours.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
she's
it
great-
is
great
so
girl.
good over that cream cheese on the crackers. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
definitely
Stop
worth
there
it.
and eat in the midst of all
Exactly,
of this.
yes.
So then we have Blue Epiphany, which is a favorite, right?
We love Blue Epiphany.
Bartlett's Distillery, which we already
Yes.
discussed. And keep in mind that Bartlett's is only open on Saturday. They can't sell liquor on Sunday in the
Sundays,
state of
yes.
Texas. We have B52, which not alcohol, but root beer. They make their own root beer there, and it's
So
delicious.
good.
And then we have Whitley Vineyards,
Mm-hmm.
which sweetest people on the planet there at Whitley Vineyards.
Yes.
And they're only open on Sunday. They're not on Saturday, so plan accordingly.
Yes.
H Wines.
And I
if
love
you have
H
not
Wines.
experienced H Wines, go
So-
experience Steve and Philip.
and like the best, literally hands down, best sparkling rosé anywhere that I've ever tried.
Yes.
And they have a lot of great wines, but that sparkling rosé changed my whole world. Like that's
Yeah.
what I look for when I go
changed
places. It did.
She's a changed woman.
Pink and bubbles. You
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
And it's so Steve has a PhD in winemaking.
Yes.
It's just listening to him talk. I mean, one, the French accent,
I know.
right? I mean, they are literally from
French,
France.
yeah.
But listening to him talk about his passion of wine is like listening to me talk about animals,
Yes.
right? Like it's just I can sit and talk to him all day, and I'm so thankful he's within walking distance of
I
my
know.
house.
Well, you know what? And I don't. But what I love about it too is he'll sit there and talk, but it's not condescending.
No.
You don't feel like an idiot. He'll let you answer any questions. He's
Yes.
so gracious and thorough
Oh my
with
gosh.
his knowledge
Yes.
and so kind. It is an experience going
Right.
there. They're just great people.
Yeah. And then last but not least, Frankenbolts. Oh my gosh. Them out there, they are so much fun.
Okay. Do not know them.
Frankenbolts. Okay. So it's two guys came together and they love young Frankenstein. So that's where this whole theme came from. And they have food trucks out there and they have event center. So go
Really?
out there, experience them. Everybody thinks that they're way out there in Dobbin. They still have a Montgomery address, you guys.
Right.
It is really not far off the
Yeah.
beaten track. So get out there and taste it. And they have mead, beer. They have a lot of stuff on tap.
Awesome.
So get out there and talk to them. They are such a fun group of people.
I am going to have to go check that out because I did not even know they were there.
Yes.
So, see, look at you.
They're right
Look
at
you
the
bringing
corner
exposure
of
to-
105 and 1486. So
that's not-
it's
that's not
not
far.
far at all.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're right on the corner, so you don't even have to go down the country road to find
Right.
them. They're right there. You'll see the orange building.
Well, and sometimes I think we all get kind of caught up in our little microcosms from point A to point B. And
was thinking about that driving
getting off the beaten path.
weird.
Because there are so many great new places all over Montgomery County. I mean, I have people that have lived in Conroe all their lives that hadn't been to downtown Conroe in a couple of years and drove down there and couldn't believe everything.
Yes.
So, but driving out a little bit of a country drive out there would be kind of nice anyway.
Yeah.
Frankenbolts. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So people want to get their tickets for the bear crawl.
Right. So you can go to our website, bearsetc.org. There is right on that homepage, get your tickets here, click on the event page. It's all over our Facebook. There is an event on Facebook. All of that leads you back to our website to purchase your tickets online. So they're $50. You get your wristband, commemorative glass, and 2 tastings at each location. You may
Nice.
need a designated driver because all of our
Yeah.
locations last year did not just pour tastings.
Yes.
I will start with that.
And then you taste something you like and you want a
And then
little
you
bit
take
bigger
it home.
tasting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this actually was birthed out of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Me wanting to help the small businesses succeed. How can I help? And the wineries, breweries, and distilleries were the hardest hit. They were
Right.
closed the longest. So how can I help get patrons to their locations, but also raise the funds for Bears, et cetera?
Right.
So that's
How-
how this came about. So we
Great
can help-
ideas, birthed out of necessity.
Right, right. And so this was it's cash free, like hands free. You scan a QR code, you get your ticket, and you go and you taste as you want. There's no start and stop location. I would recommend, if you want to break it up into 2 days, do the Conroe side first, do the Montgomery side on Sunday. If you want to do that, because of Bartlett's being open only on Saturday and Whitley only being open on Sunday.
Yeah.
But there's no reason you can't hit 7 locations that are open on either day.
Right. Well,
So-
and you even marked it very clear on the event page, the ones that are only open on Saturday, the ones that are only open on Saturday, so people can see that
Yep.
and plan accordingly.
Yep.
And you even have a supporter that is willing to maybe help assist you home should you need it.
Right. So the Laundry Ferry has offered her vans and her drivers to be able to take you for free as a donation to Bears, etc. So if you need a ride, contact the Laundry Ferry and she will come pick you up, take you to locations, and just sweet as can be.
I mean, Laundry Ferry already sounds like a friend.
Yeah, I was fixing to
You
say.
need the Laundry Ferry in her in
Yes.
your life, no matter if it's your everyday life or if it's this Saturday and Sunday at
Yeah.
Bear Crawl. They just absolutely amazing people and amazing small business in our community. So we're very excited to have them helping us out this weekend.
Because it's all about relationships.
Correct.
And what a great way to, get to know about the Laundry Ferry. Because
Yes.
I know I could use a Laundry Ferry.
Yes. So they
yeah.
pick up and do your laundry, fold it, bring it back to you in 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And
Wait
all
a
of
minute.
a sudden, Mel sits up straight in her chair. 'Cause
Yeah.
She's taking notes.
Okay. I'll need the Laundry Ferry's number, please.
I can give that to you. when we're done.
So go. We're going to share this on the Moxie Innovative page, and we're going to put the event link down in the comments on underneath this broadcast, so that you can go online and buy your tickets. Makes it nice and easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is for, and I understand you're helping the community. You've made that clear, and what a way to do it. Awesome. But when you were with us before, we were talking about fundraising, and that's really what your mission is right now,
Right.
is to get it into position. But you guys had a little windfall from a local contributor a while back, didn't you?
We
Last
did.
fall?
Yes.
Last fall?
So last fall, we received a $20,000 grant from the Apricity Foundation.
Yes.
So we were so excited, one, to be chosen, but to receive something like that to go into our capital campaign to make things happen, because they believe in us so much in what we're giving to the community and what we're about to do for animals, as animal lovers themselves. It was just so amazing. I did call her bawling when she told me, because I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just the greatest.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it.
So Lindsay and Bobby Kasperzak
Yes.
are the founders of Apricity, and those of you who are familiar with our show, you're familiar with Lindsay because she's on here. I don't know, monthly kind of.
Whenever we can drag her away from
we
all
can
of her
drag her away
busyness.
from her. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, and so we have had several of their recipients.
Join us.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're just phenomenal people.
Yeah. And as they stood up and told their missions and stuff like that, some of them I knew of and some of them I didn't. I was just like, I am so humbled to be chosen as a part of this group, because all of them do such amazing things.
Right.
And I actually know several of them because of relationships with them
Yes.
and working with them and helping people navigate, where the help is and who, how to
Who to go to.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. So it was such an honor to be chosen.
I bet it was. I bet it was.
Well,
as a recipient.
And I love what their vision is too in helping smaller nonprofits
Locals.
local nonprofits get a leg up, because there is a
Yes.
huge competition for dollars out there.
Yes.
And a venture like yours takes a lot of money.
Right? And when you start out, of all of the donor dollars that are given every year, only 5% of those donor dollars go to animal charities. So try starting a nonprofit
Right.
without bears, right?
Yeah.
We don't have them in our backyard yet,
You
or
got
anything
nothing
like
cute and fuzzy to
Right, to draw people
Yeah.
in to come in for tours or
Right.
anything like that. We started from scratch building this organization and fundraising to get the 20 acres that we need to house these animals. So we're in the 0.00 whatever of being able to get those donor dollars.
Right.
So for them to identify us as one of those charities is just absolutely
Right.
amazing.
So take the cost of 20 acres out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody donates it, whatever. Building the facility, not only, forget the welcome center where you go and take pictures and you learn things and everything. just putting up the enclosures and putting in the fencing and safety,
Animal care.
everything, animal care. What
yeah.
kind of financial number are we looking at?
So it costs about $50,000 to put up a habitat. That's the running, and it's probably going to be more as we move forward, right? The cost
As
of
you grow.
everything is going
Yeah.
up,
Oh,
especially,
yes.
steel buildings and stuff
Yes.
like that. It costs about $200 a week to feed a bear. So we're looking at,
Lots.
of money to feed them. However, relationships, right?
Sure.
So we have the Montgomery County Food Bank. Instead of sending all of that food that they don't give out,
Especially produce.
to the landfill, we can take that on.
Yeah.
So we already have that relationship with them for
already ready to
vegetables
go.
and meat, and stuff like that. So really the cost of caring for them will be basically medical bills after the fact.
Yeah.
So instead of the, several $100,000s to house and take care of these guys, it may not be that much.
Right.
But operating budget and things like that, it's going to cost us anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 just to run a facility
Yeah.
like that
Well,
when we
because-
talk about, everything that's involved.
Transportation, getting them to and from.
Right. Rescues. We rescue all over the United States. We took a Savannah cat from Florida to Oregon this past fall. And so rescues alone, when we look at the amount that gas prices currently are, rescues are going to cost us several $1,000s alone, just to make that happen, to be able to go and get an animal and bring it and to give it its piece of the wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big mission.
Yeah.
And then you put in, medical care.
Right. Veterinary care.
Veterinary care. Having staff and training for the staff that,
Right. Yeah. Chemical immobilization training is not free, especially when it comes to knowing what sedation drugs are important. They're not the same for a bear and a tiger.
Sure.
Also medications. You think of a 500-pound animal, how much are our medications right now
Right.
and how much more a 500-pound animal needs. When you look at your Chihuahua versus your Great Dane, the cost of that Great Dane's medication is a lot more. So imagine 3 or 4 Great Danes
Yeah.
taking
Oh, my
that much
gosh.
more medication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you said 50,000 a habitat, but you're going to do how many different, how many habitats do you envision?
On 20 acres, we can put about 5 or 6 habitats when we talk about the 1 to 5 acre
size,
habitats, giving them they can get full speed run. They can actually experience being a wild bear while still in a holding, right? We give them as close to the wild as we can. So then with that, we can house several bears in each habitat.
Sure.
Many of the bears that you go out to rescue have been housed with other bears either currently or before.
So they're
we can
socialized.
put a couple bears per habitat from there. So it's a little drop in the bucket compared to the 1,000 bears that are needed of placement. But if this gets us started, then maybe we can add on if there's properties around us that
Right.
then sell. Or, in 10, 15 years, we can move to ultimate goal is 200 acres with the big vision in the future. So,
Well, I have no doubt if anybody can accomplish it, you certainly can. So I know one of the things too that I wanted to ask you that I think we've touched on in previous shows. We see these traveling circuses and everything that go on. They're animals that age out that can no longer perform. Y'all probably have to take on a lot of those as well.
yeah. Yeah. And with like Ringling Brothers shutting down,
Right.
a lot of their acts were contracted, but those animals no longer,
Have a job.
so
Have a job,
they no longer
right,
have a job. So they're in need of placement with a lot of these roadside attractions that call themselves zoos or whatever. They're not getting people through the door. Well, all of their money went in to support themselves and not necessarily animals. There wasn't a sustainability. When you talk about your small business, what is your sustainability plan? Well, they just saw the dollars coming through the
Yeah.
door and didn't think long term that this would
Yeah.
never
They're gonna have
happen.
to plan,
And
yeah.
so they're having to get rid of animals and shut down because nobody came through their door over the last 2
Right,
years.
right.
So we're seeing a lot more rescues. Also, with the shutdown of Joe Exotic and Jeff Lowe and Tim Stark, a lot of those bad players that we saw on Tiger King now no longer have animals. They've all been confiscated and they've been shut down. So thank goodness
Yeah,
for that.
I mean-
But that, then you get we thought in 2016 of the shutdown of the guy in Colorado was the largest ever animal rescue in the United States. Well, now we've seen the second and third ahead of that now because of all of the animals that these people had. So just large scale, several sanctuaries working together to get these animals out of these horrible facilities.
And I can't even imagine the monstrosity of trying to coordinate all of that and then to be, find places where they can go. I mean,
every place is now full. Like, they're so full, bursting at the seams, because they just can't take on any more animals because they're taking on 10 and 20 animals because of these large scale
shutdown.
Rescues.
That's just crazy. Well, make sure, so go and support. I mean, it's awful. I guess if I have to go have some drinks and support a nonprofit and a friend and somebody that's out there not only working for these animals, but working so much for this community, I guess I'm just going to have to do it.
You're going to force yourself.
I guess I'm just going to have to do it. And again, to see all these relationships kind of come together and them support you while you're supporting them, it's really what community is all about.
Right.
And obviously, what you're trying to leave is your legacy as the chairman for Montgomery County Area Chamber. So we need to find her 200 acres. I think the goal. I think we're just going to make that the goal. we're gonna find somebody that has some land
that doesn't want it turned into a subdivision.
That doesn't want it turned into a subdivision.
Somebody.
Do you have is there does it have to be so far away from schools or anything?
So yes. So when you look at a couple things. One, if it's in Montgomery County, we can't build within a mile of a school.
Okay.
And we can't build within 1,000 feet of somebody's home.
Okay.
So that's why the 20 acres with the buffer is so important. We don't want to be too far away from Houston because when you look at your sustainability of your business, right, you don't want to be really more than an hour and a half away from a big metropolis. Now, Houston is at Conroe's back door, right? So we could go an hour from Conroe, but to really, when they do the studies of how far will someone travel for the day to go visit something like that, it's within an hour.
Yeah.
So we want to be within an hour of Houston in order to make that happen. So that way we can be involved in the Houston school systems, Conroe ISD, Montgomery ISD, so that we can do the field trips for the kiddos, or high school interns, college interns. We want to stay within that A&M, Sam Houston,
I was going to say,
Lone
then you've
Star.
got the vet school and everything else around.
Yeah, we want to stay within that kind of triangle from A&M to,
Makes sense.
Even, Stephen F. Austin isn't that far.
Right.
If we're an hour.
No, don't.
So if we're an hour from them and an hour from Houston and an hour from A&M, that's like the perfect
trifecta.
Yes.
So in your vision, whenever this happens, and I know it's going to happen because I know you.
Yes.
What do you want that experience to be for your visitors coming in?
So they'll walk in to our gift shop. They get, kind of the visuals of what they're about to see, hear some of the stories. Then they go on a tour of the facility and really, I've told this for a long time. I want to have when you went to the roller rink and you put your stuff in lockers and you had the little key. I want people to be able to put their phones, their purses, their everything in the locker, put that key in their pocket and go out and experience the peace of the wild.
Enjoy.
Yes. Hear the breeze, feel all of the feels that it has to offer of being out in nature, right? We have a safety aspect in that we want to have a wildflower prairie. This past month, we've watched the bluebonnets, right? But then we also see the people on the side of the roads that could potentially get bit by snakes or get in a car accident because they're not pulled off far enough, or the kids are jumping out of the car.
Or people are looking and not paying attention.
So we're giving them a resource to be able to get their wildflower photos without having to pull off on the side of the road or the highway,
Very
right?
Nice.
And also having a kind of a convention center that has a big window for weddings and businesses to have their annual meetings or whatever.
Retreats.
And and we can have a bear put their meal next to the window so the bear can be a part of their wedding or a part of the retreat or something like that. So we're excited for that. Our educational center, so to speak, where there's a kitchen in there, so we can have everything right there that they would absolutely need, because why not
tie it in?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
tie it all in.
Everybody likes to have a new shtick for their wedding. these
Right,
days,
right, exactly. But also tiny homes for veterans
Mm-hmm.
on wheels, because Texas A&M will bring a welding bus down, and they'll train several veterans at a time for free how to weld. So if they're interested in our program, if they're interested in welding, we can help them get their welding certifications. They can weld our enclosures, which helps
You're gonna
us.
need, yes.
Because welders are not cheap.
Yes.
And so in giving them a leg up on life, to then they can get their certification, help them get a job, and they can take their tiny home on wheels wherever they want to go to
work.
get a job and go to work.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And everybody just pitching in and helping
Yep.
each other, and
Yep.
Everybody
boy,
wins.
that's community
It's a
right there.
win,
Yeah.
win.
I know.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so this is a little side note, but I think was pretty cool. I shared an article on my Facebook a couple days ago about Willis High School and how we just graduated 300 kids with their welding certification.
Yes.
And seeing these school districts recognize the importance of
Yes.
having those trades. skills,
Yeah.
and because you're really going to need those from
Yeah.
all over.
Yeah, and
I love, then the veteran aspect is just a wonderful.
And the
idea.
Montgomery school system is working on that right now too. If you look at the bond that is
Mm-hmm.
up, one of those is their CTE center, because
Yeah.
they identified that this is important.
It is.
So we're
Yeah.
excited to be working with them. I have been in talks with the Montgomery welding instructor and stuff about getting us some cages, transport cages
Yeah.
welded and stuff like that. So to be able to work with our schools and get them the experience that they need to get
get
their
these kids-
certifications
That's awesome.
and get them
Have
out.
that-
And get,
That is
Yep.
awesome.
Keep
So
the
they can work
economy
on a
rolling.
smaller
Right.
scale on those type
Yeah.
of things, while we have our veterans working on our large scale.
Yeah. And so that bond election is coming up.
Yes.
We have our city municipal elections coming up on May 7th. Early voting starts on
Monday.
Monday. Already. Boy, it's right here upon us. So make sure you go and check that out too. I know that the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce website is full of fantastic resources. So if you do live in Montgomery ISD taxing district, or if you live, breathe, work, travel to visit, eat, shop in Montgomery, visit the website. I know if you ever run into Katie out in the wild, as we say, she's always one of those people that you can approach and ask questions. And if you want a recommendation, if you need a referral, if you just have a question, she's one of those great resources that has come into our community, and we're very lucky to have you in Montgomery County.
Well, thank
and,
you.
We
and
are
you and your
very
sweet
blessed.
husband, who, bless his heart, spends so much time in that hot bear suit. I just can't imagine how hot that thing is sometimes.
And he will be out and about this weekend for a little bit. We will be at B52 with Polson.
Yes.
Our mascot. So probably earlier in the day rather than later. So pictures with Polson will be available on Saturday and
Yes.
Sunday at B52.
And then you can get your picture of your bear with a beer,
Right.
and which would make it more complicated to drink. So I can completely understand
Yes.
why he might be taking off. So make sure you go to Bears Etc. BEARSETC.org. Go ahead and get your tickets for the pub crawl. You know what? Buy it now. If your plans change,
Yeah.
it's just a nice donation.
Right.
Yes.
And you're helping out a great nonprofit. Plus, you're supporting all these great local businesses that are always here for us. I know that we're always looking for great fun places to go, and to be able to, give business to these local guys and share in their personalities and their stories.
Yes.
It really is a great opportunity to help so many people out.
I agree. I agree. And I'm looking forward to this weekend because I really didn't have anything planned.
I know, and now,
Now
you call
you
the,
do.
and we're going to call the laundry fairy.
And we're going to call laundry
We're
fairy
gonna
so I can
become-
have clean clothes to go this weekend. That's going to be fabulous.
I know, she could just, and then
I
whenever
know.
she drops our butts home after a day of chasing, then she could just take the laundry and bring it back the next
Exactly.
because she knows where
Perfect.
we're at.
Yes.
Anyway, Katie, thank you so much for
Oh, thank
joining
you
us
for
today.
having me. I always
Really
You
appreciate
definitely
it.
are the best
Yes.
of Montgomery County. We
Cheers.
toast you with everything that we might toast you with, and we will definitely be toasting you this weekend as we're taking advantage of
And
Bear
we do
Crawl
wish
2022.
you the best of luck with it.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
And if you ever want to get in touch with her, make sure you go to their website. Like I said, bearsetc.org. It's bears, not bear, right?
Correct.
Bearsetc.org. And read some of the stories, follow them on Facebook. You won't believe literally what could be living in your backyard. But if you see something disturbing living in your backyard, call Bears, etc. Yeah, they can take care of it. So anyway, here we are. That went by so fast.
I know. It's crazy.
Always does.
It always does.
I hate for it to end.
I
Like,
know. We'll just have to do it again. We're going to have to do a recap and an update, and because I know great things are coming, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do.
Right. Okay. Everybody go get your tickets.
Yes, like now.
Yeah.
Pronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, we'll see you next Wednesday at noon when we bring you Toast of the Town with Christy and Mel. Y'all make it a great week.